How many in this room would love to have a 5-person team this year? Awesome. That is one of the coolest responsibilities you could ever have. I remember when I got over myself after my first summer and the shame that I felt about not being on schedule. And I got out of my own head and realized this is not about me, it's about other people. And I finally made the decision, I'm coming back for a second summer, I'm gonna do this the right way, because that's who I am. And then I decided I'm gonna bring some people with me. Because number one, they deserve a chance, and then number two, that'll force me to be accountable. I'm not gonna have another human out there that I'm not leading by example. So I brought 5 people with me, and that took off. That was when this business became fun and I took off, okay? So it's really a cool responsibility when you can have that.
Hey everybody, it's Red Taylor here, and I've got a big old favor to ask of you. If you would, go down and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also please share this episode with someone that you care about. Man, that would mean the absolute world to me. You never know, it could mean the world to them as well. So thanks a million, and please enjoy the show. Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Red Hot Read. Today, we've got an extraordinary guest who hails to us from the great state of Seattle, Washington. He is an executive coach and keynote speaker, author of a newly revised edition of his book, Redefining Possible, which talks about finding the joy in having soul crushed, collecting what are called Ron's Rambles, the importance of putting on blinders, truth versus lies, diving into the data, and going with the gut, and why all his pals call him Switzerland. He is a senior partner in the Southwestern Consulting family of companies, a vice president of recruiting, and an executive level sales and leadership coach. He is also an expert in recruiting, sales training, and coaching, and helping individuals and teams to reach their ultimate and personal goals. And I would like for you to welcome our guest today, Mr. Ron Alford. Ron, welcome to the Red Hot Read.
Awesome. Thanks, Red, for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much. So let's dive right into it. Talk to us about being senior partner, executive level recruiting. What does that exactly look like on a day-to-day basis? And what do you look like in potential recruits? What are you looking for in potential recruits?
Yeah, got it. So the labels aside, the titles aside, I don't put a whole lot of stock in titles nowadays, but it's really just for us, the culture alignment. And people that are practitioners, people that aren't, I think anybody can quote John Maxwell and read books and sound quite educated. But for us, and we are looking for people that roll up their sleeves. They've been there, they've done it, and they're still doing it. They're not the high school quarterback talking about the glory days. They're out hustling, building, growing, persevering, facing adversity and pushing through it. And all the things they would work with a client on or a company on. To us, that is like the best. That's the way to do life.
Okay.
So that's my role to answer your question, is to kind of help. We have about 35 team leaders in our company, and we help them hire and onboard new coaches and help them develop. A lot of people have brilliant content and massive conviction, but they don't know how to scale. So we'll hire a lot of lone wolf coaches or people that have pretty extensive backgrounds to help them scale their business.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you talked on that, because today that is an extremely hot topic in the personal development, self-growth, entrepreneurship niche or vertical is scale. Talk to the audience today about scale. What does scale mean? And I'm really putting a broad set of quotations around that term. And how do small businesses, what are the best practices to scale?
Okay. So in my mind, the way I think of it is if we close our eyes and we look 6 months ahead, 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, we've got all these goals. We've got the vision of why we want to do something, what we want it to look like, our financial freedom, the philanthropic life where we're donating to nonprofits, we're giving back, we're traveling, we're doing awesome things with our family, etc. However, we don't want to be a slave to working more hours. If I want to have a 50% increase in income in the next 2 years, does that mean I want to work 50% more hours? No. So that means being more effective with those precious minutes. It is getting down to how we plan those minutes, how we protect those minutes, how we delegate, how we raise up leaders around us. For some people, it's staffing. It's giving up control. It's saying you don't have to do every part of your business. Trust this person to do your social media or plan your travel or handle a lot of your email or, so for some people it's a control issue. For others, it's more of like really being able to hire the right people and empower them and raise them up to scale appropriately.
Yeah, and all of those, as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur who's been doing this for 25 years, all of those are challenging. Okay, uh, I think personally, I was able to learn how to delegate and to let go. Many years ago. I've been an entrepreneur and ran businesses for the last 25 years, so that's something that's not a problem now. But it was, because it's your baby, right? As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a leader, so many times we want to have control, and we think that we're the only people that can do it the right way. And what I learned a long time ago is finding someone else who can do 100% of a task or a set of tasks at it 80% as good is 100% a beautiful thing, because
Well,
it gives you back 100% of your time, of that amount of time that
yeah.
you were going to have to take out of your schedule to commit to doing that task. You're able to gain back and buy back that time. And so it's such an effective tool to learn and be able to put into practice.
Well said. Yeah, and often I'm surprised. I can't agree more. But I'm surprised. Worst case scenario, the 80%. I love what you said. I'm oftentimes surprised that whoa, they're doing it 90% or even 100% or maybe 110%. They're doing it better than I ever was. But my dumb old ego was in the way, thinking that I just I was the only one that knew how to do this. And as long as we give them clear expectations, proper training, and develop them, a lot of times they end up landing it better than we ever did in the first place.
Yeah, they take, like you said, expectations, training, guidance, coaching, and if you find the right people, they'll take a pride in that job and those tasks that were more, a thorn in your side, as
Mhm.
you're trying to focus your attention on much more high level tasks and focus. So move on to one that's probably as equally or even more difficult, and that is staffing and hiring. Okay. From personal experience, hiring the right talent, finding the right talent, it's tough. Okay.
Mhm.
Especially in today's market. I feel like we're experiencing a more difficult process, more difficult in finding talent that can help us to be successful at what we need them to do.
Mhm.
So, Ron, do you guys have a process? Do you have experience on how to help your folks go and be more successful in that field?
Yeah, we do. And I think we call it a lot of lines in the water, right? If you're out fishing, the more lines you have, the more likelihood you're going to catch the right fish, the big fish, et cetera. So whether it's internally hiring coaches or externally coaching and consulting companies and who they're hiring, I'm a believer in LinkedIn and in Indeed and a lot of those kind of sites. There's a time and place for those. I do find a lot of times though it makes us lazy. We just kind of rely on the headhunter or the online service, and we forget to just ask for help. Like some of my favorite words are just, hey Red, I wanted to ask you a favor. I've always respected how driven you are and how focused you are and what you've been able to do. I know you hang around with a lot of great people. I wanted to pick your brain on some people you know. Who do you know that boom? And then you just have a really laid out job description. You know your non-negotiables and then you know your dream characteristics. And if it's written out, if it's clear and you put the word out and you ask for a favor, I bet every listener right now could think of easily 10 people. Call it your hot 10 people you know that are quite plugged in through church, through nonprofits, through community, through their business, through their college, alumni, et cetera. They know a lot of people. And if you call them and ask them for help, you're gonna get some great recommendations. People are always kind of looking and they connect you with people. So I just, again, I don't want to say don't use the online services or headhunting, but I don't want to rely just on that and get lazy.
No, it's so good, so well said, and such great advice, brother. And I guess from experience, one thing that I've learned is that people in leadership positions, they want to help. They want to help. So we're, you're a problem solver by nature, Ron, right? I mean, you probably, if I have you pegged even close to being right, you probably like solving complex problems.
Come
Okay.
on.
Your friends, your family, your coworkers, folks that look to you advice, don't bring me something easy. Okay. We're not talking about what to wear to work tomorrow, bro. Okay.
Right.
Let's get something that needs to unpack. Give me something that I can really dial in on and sink my teeth into, and see if I've got the skills that are needed to be able to get this thing done right. Is that true?
You got it. Love it. How fun is that? Where you get to
It
really
is.
dig in, and it's like we're not here to go through the motions and just another day, another dollar, clock in, clock out. Like jobs suck the life out of people,
Yes.
right? But I can tell just even looking at you on screen and hearing your voice, like you're passionate about what you do. You have a calling for what you do, and if you're that engaged in what you do, man, you bet you say bring it on.
Yeah, anybody that does what we do, we put ourselves in front of these screens, in front of these cameras, and make people look at this ugly face and listen to our voices. Then we do have a calling and a passion to help people. That's the only reason we're out here doing this. Now, I think everybody has, secondary motives. We want to scale our business. We want to gain more audience. We want to gain more exposure, and we want to, we want to grow. So that's no secret. But we do that by giving. Okay, and the whole goal and the whole reason, and everybody, Red Hot Read Nation, Ron and I discussed this prior to getting on camera today, is the whole goal here is to create value that helps people.
Come
And
on.
so what he just said is so valuable when you're going through problems, when you are needing advice, whether it be relationally with your family, with your kids, with your business. Find your hot 10, your top 10. What he said, ask for advice. Okay.
Mhm.
Lay it out there, and you're going to find the people that God puts in your way to be able to give you that wisdom and that discernment to help you, going forward. Changing gears real quick. And, I want to talk to you about your book, because I know that that's something that's just come out, or it's coming out right now. Redefining possible. Tell everybody about redefining possible, and what does it mean?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Red. So, the very short version is when we essentially redefine wealth. I'd like to think that my truest version of wealth is impact. I mean,
Mm,
this plays right off of what you just talked about, is the service you provide other people. When we look back on seasons of our life, every listener you on here has been to a funeral, been to a celebration of
yep.
life that makes you look in the dang mirror
Yep.
and think, what am I doing with my time? This isn't a practice life. What am I doing with this? And if you come into that moment where it is impact. And so if we believe in that, how do we multiply the level of impact we can have on our brothers and sisters, on the people that we do life with? So that's where the book digs in on kind of 6 key strategies to help us multiply our impact and grow our wealth in terms of lives touched.
So good. So good. So let's touch on those. Can you give us a high level definition, an explanation of those 6 key strategies real quick, Ron?
Yes. Yeah. First one is just focus. We will get what we focus on. You and I
Yes.
both know if we're trying to tighten up our family budget, if we're trying to have more quality time with our kids, if we're trying to meal plan a little more effectively and watch what we put into our bodies, maybe pay attention to our evening routines so we sleep better, whatever. High level focus, learning how to eliminate distractions, concentrate like we never have. Uh, Man, we can get more fruit out of 20 minutes than we usually would have gotten out of an hour. And
Yes.
so that alone we could talk about for days. That's
Yep.
the
Absolutely.
first. The second one is just next level ownership, taking responsibility for everything, eradicating blame. Every every time I want to point the finger, to think if only they would have done this, if only my CEO or my government or my parents or my wife.
Hey everybody, Red Taylor here, and I wanted to remind you that if at any time you're interested in shopping your health insurance or life insurance rates, my team of experts work for my viewers for free. So reach out to us, click the link in the description at redtailorinsurance.com, and we'll go to work. We'll see if we can save you a ton of money and upgrade your benefits. If we can't, we're going to tell you, hey, stay right where you are. What you have is working, and we're happy for you. If things ever change, let us know. So reach out. We're happy to help. Enjoy the show.
So I've got to reprogram my mind to eliminate blame and take the responsibility. Go ahead.
No, and I didn't want to cut you off, but two things just hit me while you were saying that, because I'm so in alignment with what you're with what you're saying. But I've always believed and put this into practice that what you focus on, what we focus on, expands. Okay. Think about it. And everybody that's listening to this can relate to it. If you focus on the negative, guess what expands is that the negative gets bigger.
Oh.
If you focus on the positive, then the positive gets bigger. Think about your relationships in life. What about your spouse? How are you guys doing? Are you focused on the 80% that you like and you love about him? Or you focused on the 10% that you really that really gets on your dang nerves about her. Okay.
Yes.
And therein lies the problem, right? Okay. So what we focus on expands. All right. And then secondly, extreme ownership. How valuable is that? If you take nothing else away from today, take the fact that if you'll take extreme ownership of your life, then you will be much, much more successful than you ever will. In fact, if you'll take a Sharpie or you take a dry erase board and you put it on your mirror, just write it on your mirror where you brush your teeth in the morning, everything is my fault. Everything. Okay. Good or bad, just write it on there. Everything's my fault. All right. So that's extreme ownership. And that's going to lead all of us. Yeah, he's got
it. My Sharpie.
I love it. I
love that idea.
I mean, it's true, brother. It's true. It is. And I'm telling you, it's going to free you of excuses that are shackling you and holding you down from your dreams, from achieving your dreams and goals. Go ahead, brother. Sorry about that. But yeah.
Well, it's interesting just listening to you. It just makes me breathe easier. My shoulders drop. Like, you're right. It alters our immune systems. We sleep differently. We're less critical.
Yep.
So those two. So it's basically a formula where with that heightened focus, with more extreme ownership, then we're able to have a more sustainable vision. Our vision becomes clearer. The fire burns hotter. A lot of us have operated life where, one day I'm on fire, I'm hustling to hit my goals. The next day I'm kind of hiding behind email. I'm very roller coaster. It's dependent upon the mood. We have to get to a sustainability. So we really dig in on vision. Any human can do something for a day or a week or a month, but consistency will always win. And so with that stronger vision, we become more consistent in how we operate and how we behave. So now we shift gears. Then we start digging in on belief systems, because we're all a product of our programming from our childhood to the way we were raised through universities and jobs and whatnot. We've all been programmed, and we still all are. So that's taking ownership of our belief systems. We're constantly altering, catching ourselves saying, I'm so forgetful. I'm bad with technology. I'm not a morning person. I'm not good with names. I'm unorganized. I'm not good with money. I'm like, my ears are so trained. I hear these things all day long from humans, and I'm guilty. Let me not be on a pulpit acting like I've got this figured out. I say the same garbage, or I think it. And so slowing down to be really hyper aware of what are my beliefs? How am I altering the programming slightly? Because those beliefs eventually turn into actions and behaviors, which become my results. So that's a key. Then we shift into the fifth one is confidence. We call it unconditional confidence. Because when I get knocked down, right, most of us result with false confidence, which is kind of more the fake bravado. Like, let me look, my social media looks good. My exterior looks good, even though inside it's kind of mush. I'm not comfortable in my own skin. So I act like others. I compare myself with others constantly. or I'm very conditionally confident. You know, when my results are good, I had a really good July, so now I feel better about myself. It's
Love
dependent
that.
upon outward circumstances versus strengthening the muscle of unconditional confidence. It's very authentic. It's a very attractive trait in a human. And then the sixth one, when we have those things, then we have a more enduring faith. So faith is that sixth component because, man, read the news, go online this week. We all know it's no secret that it is gloomy. It is, people are going to talk. So just the faith that helps us believe in whatever your spiritual beliefs are. This isn't just tied directly to spiritual beliefs, but it's faith in your vision. It's faith in humanity. It's faith in the good and not getting so discouraged by the bad. When we have those six key things, that's kind of that whole redefining possible formula that helps us heighten our impact.
I love it. I think that all six are such key elements to anyone who, and I don't, it doesn't matter. You know, what we find out when we're on this journey is that we're all pretty much the same. If everybody is trying to become their best, that are, you're striving to reach your goals, you have this vision that you see of yourself and that you see of your business, or that that you're trying to attain, then you're along this journey. And so these six beliefs, these six elements are so important, and everyone that you meet along the way have these guys at a very, very high level of importance in their life, and they're doing what they can to practice them on a regular basis. You said that vision and that consistency, and that brought up a something I've read recently and I've been studying is just consistency. I think that as humans, we dramatically overestimate what we can accomplish in a year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as type A guys, achievers and go-getters, we
Mm-hmm.
always want it now, 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 get it, go, go, go. Okay. And so we put our goals in front of us. Well, this is a 6 month, this is a 12-month goal. And so we're almost setting ourselves up for failure. And conversely, we dramatically underestimate what we're able to accomplish in 10 years, in a decade. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency compounds on itself over and over again. And so what we see, and you see this, and we'll touch on your physical prowess as well, and what you're huge endurance guy and triathlete, which is, kind of blows my mind away. But what you practice is consistency, right? I mean, doing the same type of actions repeated over and over, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, is how we get to that greatness that we're striving to become. Okay.
Wow.
And that, I believe, is what, that vision part and that consistency it relates to, because those rivers and those streams, they didn't cut through the rock in a day or a year.
Yeah.
It took thousands of days consecutively of beating those waves against those rocks to cut the valleys into them.
Yeah. Great metaphor. True. How can we as humans be like those waves, like those rivers, like those, right? It's such a great, kind of mindset piece to think about. So yeah, I think about it a lot. How can I, just as a dad, even, my kids are all high school, middle school. Like I want to be unconditional with them as a husband. Of course, my fitness in the Pacific Northwest where I live, hey, rain or shine, I'm getting some fresh air this morning.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rely on something I can't control, the weather. So you got it.
Yeah, good stuff. And when you're talking about your kids, we've got, my wife and I, we have 6 children.
Wow.
And it's you don't know if you've done a great job with it or not, about not putting too much pressure on them and wanting them to conform into your vision of what you think that they should be and how things should look, because we're all persuaded so much by what we see, right? I mean, we see a lot these days because these phones that we have available to us, I mean, they see there's so much on there for us to see, and everybody's being judged by them and categorized by them and whatnot. So how do we take these types of belief systems, these types of practices, and put it into being a dad and put it into being a parent, which so many people seem to be struggling with right now, and that's having really high level relationships with their children.
Yeah, I think, going back to the focus, like even one-on-one time, distractions to me, I know I can look back at a month or like right now, late August, I can look back at the summer and think, gosh, did I develop my relationship with each of my kids individually the way I had hoped this summer? And it is directly correlated to one-on-one time doing things they want to do. If my son wants to get out and shoot some baskets, if my daughter wants to play a game or go for, walk our dog or go ride our mountain bikes am I willing to put down my phone and be with them present? Uh, Usually when I'm not, and I'm a little more rushed and it's maybe quantity minutes, but not quality, I notice our relationship's not growing. And so it's not rocket science, but that's how I have to try to audit. And I'm a big tracker. I believe in measuring what matters. Like I'm just a dang human like everyone else that forgets things. I know truths in life, spend more quality time with my children and my relationship's better, but yet I mess it up. I don't do it. So if I track things and I do it on, I was just looking right next to me. I've got pieces of paper. I've got like a 21 day or a 40-day checklist. I've got an app going. Doesn't matter how you track it, but 3, 4, 5 controllable things that are more personal. Of course, I track all my business, ratios and whatnot in our CRM. But just, did I affirm my wife today? Did I have one-on-one time with my kids, 3 times this week? Did I, get fresh air? Did I have my devotional time or my journal or whatever those things are? Then I know I'm better. If I'm not tracking it, my intentions are good, but my follow through is poor. If I'm tracking it, my intentions are better. My follow through is almost perfect. Not quite perfect, but almost.
Yeah, so important. I think it's, for busy professionals, it's I think it's ever more important now to track those types of activities if it's going to be important to you, right? If you're going to put if you're going to put a focus on that of having a good relationship and growing a good relationship with your children, and more importantly, keeping and growing and maintaining a good relationship with your spouse, right? So that, and we talk about wealth. You mentioned wealth in the beginning, and we're not talking about money now. And we're not talking about growing followers and growing an audience and bottom line scaling a business, but we're talking about wealth. And wealth, it better probably boil down to your relationships, right? And if you're married and you have children, then the most important relationship that I believe that we have is the relationship we have with our spouse. That's the one that's the one that's going to be there with me after they get move on, and they're going to move on. Okay. It's 16 years old. They're going to get a driver's license. We're going to give them a key to a vehicle. So that's your first separation. All right. And then at 18, they're probably 19. They're going to go away to college, or they're going to, figure out that their belief systems probably don't align with yours and you don't align with theirs. And they're probably going to move out of your home. So they're going to leave us, and we're going to be stuck with our spouse who hopefully, when that time comes, we know each other and we like each other and we have a good relationship. But in order for that to happen, it has to be a primary focus. And we got to learn to be able to focus on the things that we like more than the things that we don't like. So this all, even though we're not talking about scaling businesses, executive level coaching, this all pertains to the wealth strategy that guys like us and people that are attracted to our content believe in, right?
Yes. Can't agree more. Yeah. And I have never yet to this day found a human that tracks those basic things. Let's talk about faith, their family, their health, call it fitness, whatever, philanthropic life, giving back in the community. The things that are most important, if they track them, I've yet to find a person that's not like, wow, I'm growing. And when we get away from tracking, we cut corners. man, I'm more irritable, I'm moody, I'm have more anxiety, I'm more reactive, I'm more procrastinate, I all those kind of things. I just cannot scream it loud enough to your audience. Embrace tracking. For years, I made the mistake of tracking because my boss told me to. Like, I guess I got to do it. It's part of my job title. I got to be a good example for. Got to track all my stuff. The sooner you can get over accepting your situation to track and embrace it and be a CEO of your life and embrace
Mm.
measuring what matters, you will see the fruit. I just, yeah, believe in it so deeply.
Yeah, you said be the CEO of your life. So well stated. That's, I mean, that's it, right?
Mhm.
Become the CEO of your life, the chief executive officer of your life.
Yeah.
So, if you had real quick, go back to kind of what you were talking about earlier. Give actionable steps. Like what could I do if I wanted to track, uh, personal time with my children? What would you tell me to do?
Okay. Love it. So, first thing I do is the why. Why does it matter? I want to get my head and heart activated. I've got to emotionally tie to the things. Because if I just track some stuff, a week from now, I'm gonna burn out. The 30-day diets just don't last. Like I'm
Right.
not emotionally tied to it. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm, creating a vision board of sorts. I'm dreaming, I'm thinking, I'm really writing out why is it so important for me to have a great relationship with my kids.
Hmm.
Like I get emotional when I think about I want to be able to do fitness things with my grandkids someday. It breaks my heart to see my dad, his health is so poor, he's not able to do things with my kids. And so that's when something becomes emotional.
Yes.
So now, okay, I'm not just going to go walk on the treadmill because I got to lose a pound. No, I'm going to do it because I want to be that fit parent that can still play basketball with his kids and run with his kids. And someday when my grandkids are there, so then I'm emotionally engaged.
Yes.
Then you kind of reverse engineer the controllable activities that'll help me have that health, make that extra $1,000 a month, have a better relationship with my wife, whatever it is. So if my marriage, like you said earlier, read so well with the prioritization of your marriage, man, have we been doing a good job of having 2 date nights a month? Are we taking 10 minutes to go walk our dog together, right after dinner, or 20 minutes just to be together, or the little things? Do we maybe read a devotional together once a week instead of watching another Netflix show for 20 minutes? And those are just little simple ideas. And then we grab a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can, of course, can get an app like Habit Tracker or Streaks or all these apps. You can just get a dang 3x5 index card once a week. Like you said earlier, put it on your bathroom mirror or on the kitchen counter so you've got some accountability to it, and fill in those boxes. My daughter read, one of my 3 kids, this was last year. She had a realization that she is not her best self when she eats too much sugar. Surprise, surprise. That's now keep in mind she's only 12.
Okay,
She
but
just
that's
turned
that's
13.
strong though. Yeah.
So we just, we didn't boss her or make her do this. We just said, hey, what are some things and now she saw her mom and dad's lead. This brings a tear to my eye because she saw our example and she made 30 boxes. She said in the next 60 days, I'm gonna have 30 sugar-free days.
Wow.
And she got a piece of paper with 30 boxes. And I'm talking not just like birthday cake. Like this is no barbecue sauce, no ketchup, no simple sugars, zero
Yeah.
sugar. So she learned how to read labels,
Wow.
and she checked those 30 boxes. And it's just such a neat example, even as a
Love
kid, to
it.
see someone doing that.
So cool. She has now set herself on a trajectory, on a path to optimal health and wellness for a very, very long time. And, looking at your doing, some study on you, and your competing in dozens of ultra endurance running, and just a variety of different type of events, which I don't do. I'm more of a gym rat, lifter, a walker. I'm a walker. But one thing that
Mhm.
we do have in common is that health and wellness is extremely important to both of
Yes.
us. I believe, and I tell my kids that the way that you show up in fit to a meeting these days, the way that your appearance looks at you, to others as a professional, is almost your business card, more or less. Okay. It's
Mm,
a sign of your importance, of what you place importance on. It's a sign of what you focus on, because we all know that you can't just buy physical fitness. Okay.
mm,
It takes discipline, it takes sacrifice, it takes having a vision and doing it over and over and over again, and doing the hard work over and over and over again. And that says a lot about a professional, or the future professional. It also
yeah.
gives us an opportunity to live a healthy life a lot longer, which I turned 52 in October, and I'm committed to be, living healthy to 100. And I think in
Awesome.
the next 10 to 15 years, I may raise that to 150 as we continue to learn more and grow more. And it
Yeah.
sounds crazy, but listen, I'm like, there's nothing in my mind. Talk about beliefs, talk about belief systems.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing in my mind that does not believe that unless I get hit by a bus or something crazy happens out of the universe, I'm going to be healthy when I turn 100. Okay.
Come
48
on.
years from now, I'm going to be healthy. And I just, that's just the way I believe it.
Yeah. Well, good for you, man. You're living into that belief. It has to start in our mind's eye, right? And you can feel it. I can feel it from you talking. Yeah, I can't agree more. Even though the way our path to get there might be a little different, gym rat, running, this and that, like either way, we are prioritizing health and wellness. And I think you hit it so well. And whatever the fruit is, I like how you said it's your, it makes you feel more confident. It's kind of your for your job. You walk in, people obviously judge you whether you like it or not, but also it allows you to calm down and not be as easily rattled by stuff going on in the news. Or for me, most of my running in the mountains, the foothills near where I live outside of Seattle, I don't have headphones in usually. It's my chance to
Oh,
just
yeah.
process and breathe and calm. And I come back feeling my cup is full.
Mm,
And if at the end of the day, if we're all pouring into the lives of other people, it's hard to pour from an empty cup. We have to fill our own cups first. And that's
yes.
that's a chance for me, however your listeners do it, but prioritize that time to fill your cup.
So good. So good. In filling my cup, it's first and foremost, we all have times of angst. We all have, dark times and tough, difficult things that we go through in life, and maybe even really tough seasons. Um, but what I've found as I've grown older is that it's impossible for me, and really anybody else, to be thankful, grateful, and full of gratitude and be anxious, worried, and depressed at the same time.
Yeah. Truth.
Okay. And so, however you fill that cup up, for me, it's in the morning. And as soon as I wake up, I'm going to say, thank you, God, for about everything I can say thank you, God, for, until, I get up and go and start my morning routine and whatever it is. And the way that just energizes my physiology is probably similar at what it sounds like to the way you feel when you're up in the mountains and you're running and you're just being fed and filled your cup of gratitude,
Yeah.
and how that just continues to direct your day and your path.
Yes. Come on. Yeah, I love that. It's a great way to put it. And I love that morning routine. It's become a habit for you to wake up and just immediately focus on what you're thankful for. And obviously, you tie it to your belief in higher power. I think we share the same spiritual beliefs. So, man, Lord, thank you that I'm for my fitness. Thank you. I hug my dog. One of my first
Yeah.
things in the first 30 minutes, I lay on the
Yeah.
floor and stretch with my dog, and he just fills my heart with joy. And just sets you up for the right day. Then when the arrows come, like you said, the stuff that would have knocked us down or would have made us anxious or irritable or reactive, we don't get quite as hit. It knocks us off course for a few minutes, but we bounce back quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the arrows are coming, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not if they come, they're on the way. So
Yep.
somebody's pulled the cord and those arrows are flinging at us, right? It's some that,
Yep.
from whatever direction they're coming. Heck, I was in the office with the guys dealing with about 4 or 5 different things about 15 minutes before you and I got on this call. And to say I was frustrated, I was beyond frustrated with a couple of different scenarios that weren't working out. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned as I grow older is I'm not going to let these different types of scenarios and external forces to create a bad day in me. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not happy with the way it's going right now, and I'm
Mhm.
frustrated with this element of it. But you know what? Here, do your job, get it right. You've got this. I know you can do it. These are the instructions. These are the rules. Go handle it. And then I'm going to get up and I'm going to go in here to the studio and I'm going to talk to this great man, Ron Alford. And I wouldn't have even thought about that unless we were just
Mhm.
talking about it.
Yeah.
So many people that we meet and that we encounter on a day-to-day basis, they harbor it, they internalize it, and they allow that frustration or that negative act or that whatever that detrimental event to impact them for so long. How do they become better at leaving it behind and really diverting those arrows so that they can continue on the path forward?
Yeah. Yeah. When we all mess it up, even as you're talking, I'm just like, man, we're all a work in progress. None of us are doing this thing perfect. And I hope that's what the listeners hear too, is that nobody's got this figured out. It's progress, not perfection. But I like what you just said. One of my business partners always says, pretty much anything that happens to us, it's either making us a little more bitter or it's making us better.
Mm,
And it's how do you take it? The bitterness, it might be subconscious. You might not even be aware that deep down you're harboring some bitterness towards people or that situation or that company or
yeah.
or it's making you, like you said earlier, own it, extreme ownership. Like, this is my deal, and how can I get better, control what I can, and not worry about the stuff that I can't control.
Yeah. But, you don't necessarily want to own it, right? You don't necessarily want to realize, you know what? I'm the dummy. I screwed it up. I didn't train Cade well enough to be able to handle that situation on his own. So it's me. I'm the dumb,
Yep.
right? Okay. I didn't tell him exactly what was going to happen in this scenario so that when it showed up to be able to pivot and go in this direction to be able to be successful quicker and help our folks to the desired end result that they need, which here is insurance and health insurance and life insurance. And right now it's a very busy time for us. So yeah, the ownership part of it though, in the morning, everything's my fault. It is. Whether we
Mm.
win or lose, it's going to be my fault. And I think that takes a lot of layers of excuses that we can make and be frustrated with external people and pieces within our organization, within our team, and just uh, realize that it starts and stops with me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, good for you, because as a dad with 6 kids and as a company that you're scaling and doing incredible things in the insurance world, like, you're building a culture. They're all watching you. And when you're living like that and you're taking ownership and not blaming that example you just man, how do people not live a little more into that because of your example, not just what you're saying?
well, like you said, I screw it up all the time. So it's a work in progress. Like you said, and I love that saying.
Mm.
We're focused on progress, not perfection. And let's expound on that because you mentioned culture, and I'm a huge culture guy. I believe that culture is so important in organizations. It's so important in families, and here at my company, it's important to me that we have a culture where people feel like they have an opportunity to be successful. They have an opportunity to achieve the goals that they have, that the dreams that they have set for themselves. And we want to culture people up. I don't want to squeeze people out. I want to squeeze people up in the culture.
Mhm.
How do you coach that in your teachings and your speaking and your work in your world? How can guys like me who are a work in progress on that, how do we get better at building dynamic cultures of achievement?
Hmm. So I think a lot about character traits. We all know the core values. Most companies nowadays, you look on their website, you can see some sort of a creed or mission statement. Or I think where a lot of us have fallen short then is integrating those core values into our daily meetings. Uh, and so again, whether it's our family, like us last night at dinner, are we talking about we need reminders because we're human. So we have big things around the house, that certain beliefs that we have as a family that are tied to scripture. So we believe in generosity. We believe in giving people grace. We believe in
Mhm.
forgiveness. A lot of those things
Yes.
that I'm sure most of your listeners believe in,
Yes.
tying that to scripture and somehow weaving that into our conversations, weaving it into a dinner, weaving it into, and then same thing corporately in the boardroom. We have our weekly meetings with our senior partners, our partners, our all of our coaches. We read the creed or the partners pact before every meeting.
Oh yeah.
We just try to take that 3 to 5 minutes to soak it in, to feel it. So that way, the next 55 minutes of the meeting, there's a little bit more of the principles involved. Man, it just, again, none of this goes perfect, but it sure helps. It helps us be more, focus on principles, not personalities, or whatever the things are in our creed that we're remembering, and it impacts everybody.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like you're being more intentional about your focus on the personalities and focus on the culture. Going back to kind of what you said, that reminded me. John Maxwell said that great leaders are those who don't say new things to new people all the time, or they don't say old things to new people all the times. Great leaders are those who say the same thing to the same people all the time, over and
Mm-hmm.
over and over again. Right. So I think, and I'm so guilty of this. I think that if I tell somebody something one time that they should get it. No, 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 that's not the way it goes. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, they don't see it in the same light many times as I do. I have to see everything. And as a coach, you think about it, as a coach, they go to practice every day, every single day.
Yeah.
Okay. Tom Brady went to the practice. He ran the same exact drills every single day for 23
Yeah.
years in the NFL. Same drills. And so that is so important in building that culture, is to just continuously reinforce the creed and the belief system that you want the standard of your organization to be.
You got it. Yeah, I can't agree more. I won't add. I think that, and then catching people doing things right and noticing it and calling it out.
Yeah.
I'm guilty as a parent sometimes of just like, hey, put your dishes away. Hey, clean your room. Hey, why did you leave your shoes out again? Hey, critique, versus catching them the little, the things that I think as a dad, should just be basic. They should know to do that. No, catch them doing that. Hey,
Right.
good job, man. I saw how patient you were with your sister. Dude, way to put that away, man. That's like you. Like noticing when they do the things and calling it out, because that helps them feel appreciated. It helps them feel like I am good at that. And just because they're kids doesn't mean I shouldn't be doing it with my 40, 50, 60-year-old teammates as well in the professional world.
Yeah, and you mentioned in researching you that you've got a history of playing team sports, football, basketball, and that goes so in line on that realm of, we used to get coached, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was a football coach in a former life, and I was really good at it. I'd coached 3 years of high school football. And then I ended up getting on at Auburn University with Coach Tommy Tuberville, Senator Tuberville, and that staff now, and realized real quickly that I didn't think I wanted to work 100 hours a week for 50 weeks a year and not really get to enjoy any of the fruits of the
Right.
enjoyment of Saturdays, and so I got out of that after, a couple of years, and went back into high school coaching for a little bit. But, one of the things that I find as a business owner that we miss an awful lot of is the passion and the intensity and the energy of being able to coach. Okay. We don't coach in the business world like professionals are being coached in the athletics world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I just wonder why. Like, why can't, because it goes both ways, right? In athletics world, if you see a guy make a mistake, you have to coach that mistake. You got
Confirm.
to you got to make a big deal about that mistake.
Yep.
You've got to correct it. You've got to redirect it, and you've got to get it right. But when
Yeah.
they do it right, a great coach is going to make a huge deal about that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. In the business world, we don't do that. Hey, good sale. Good job. Okay. Now you
Yeah.
should have said this. If you would have said this or that, the other, you'd have been a little bit better. Okay.
Mhm.
So we make it, we almost take the energy out of it and we make it a more mundane process. And I understand that, but have you ever thought about that and really entertained if there's a method or an opportunity to add intensity or energy back into the business world, into coaching and leading?
Yeah, I think about it a lot. I think about it probably most of the day because it's kind of my job title. I do, Red. It's so I guess one thought is when we slow down to hear someone else's vision of what they're aspiring to become, oftentimes then it's, man, let's say I hear this from Megan, a new coach I've hired in Annapolis, Maryland, and she's talking about her vision, where she wants to be in 5 years, et cetera. And I just genuinely appreciate Megan for being vulnerable and how inspiring it is. And I just say, hey, I want to ask you, do I have your permission to be very real with you going forward? Like you have some extraordinary things you're looking to do. That's not common. By definition, that's not average. Like extraordinary vision and goals takes extraordinary measures. Do I have your permission to be tough on you at certain times and to celebrate with you at certain times? And so number one, having that, setting the tone, proper expectations, et cetera. Hopefully that's something that most of us as leaders could do. Number two then is maybe saying one coach may not do it all, or one boss, right? Like having layers of feedback. In football coaching, you weren't playing the game. You were there to specifically watch them
Right.
and give them feedback. That was a lot of leaders nowadays are still out producing. They're juggling 18, they're wearing 18 hats. They're not just shadowing their people all day. And
Mm,
so that's one thing I know I try to get better at is, am I shadowing my people? Am I in the trenches watching them, listening to some of their recording calls? Because then I can give more directive feedback.
yes.
Uh, and then also, is it not just me? Hopefully they have layers of accountability. They've got their boss, but do they also have an outside the bubble coach? Do they have some peer-to-peer mentorship? You know, that way there's various voices feeding into them, not just mine.
Yeah, I like it. I love the idea of just, setting the expectation and going ahead and asking them permission. Hey, can I, to have
Yeah.
permission to be, brutally honest with you and to kind of be tough when I deem that there's an element of toughness needed.
Well,
And that,
when you just listen to their vision and their heart, and they reveal their heart to you, and then you ask for permission, it's rarely a sure. It's like, yes, Red, you do. Please hold me to this.
yeah,
It's a passionate yes,
yeah.
which is different.
When they have that extraordinary vision.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me an example. I've got two questions to wrap this thing up. So give me an example, Ron, of professionals. What professional fields, what type of clients are attracted to you guys? Like, what do y'all, what do you look for, and who are looking for you?
Yeah. Commissioned salespeople and leaders that are trying to scale. So some bread and butter industries. We do a lot of insurance, financial advisors, mortgage lenders, real estate, but people that own roofing companies, pest control companies, medical device companies. Um, Gosh, I had a call yesterday with the HVAC. There's just, it's really anybody that's humble enough to want to draw on outside support and says, you know what, with a little bit of extra accountability and strategy, I could probably tap into 20, 30, 40% that I'm not getting out of myself already. And Red, you mentioned earlier with Tom Brady, you think about all these Olympic athletes, Michael Phelps and, golfers, and they pretty much all had specific coaches that were helping them get more out of themselves. That's all we do.
Yes, yes, such a great analysis there, and I want to expound on that, guys, because most of the folks that listen to this show are entrepreneurs. They're folks that run small businesses, self-employed, or they want to go in that direction. And what I would encourage you is to take what Ron just said, and what we touched on earlier. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Tiger Woods, Brian Phelps. I mean, whatever. sport that you want to look at, and I'm a sports nut. I like sports. I like competition. I like raw competition. And so what Ron mentioned is that each of these extremely successful high level achievers had in common is they all had the coach. They all had a coach. Okay, someone who was invested into their performance, and someone who had the willingness to invest and tell them when they did it wrong, and give them an idea of redirection, and tell them when they did it right, and maybe think outside the box. Because so many times what I feel like is I've experienced over the years is that I'm caught up in the storm, right? I mean, we get caught up in the game of our own life. And a lot of times it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, for us to see an outside perspective, because we have emotions, we have experiences, we have our effort, we have our energy all tied up into what we're going through at the time. And having the opportunity to have an expert whose only goal is to see us reach our dreams and goals and check the boxes off that we've expressed to them is so, so important. Okay. And so if you are in need of that, if this is speaking to you, Ron, where would they go to get in touch with you?
Yeah.
Where do they find Ron Alford?
Red, I'm going to have you travel with me now in the days ahead. Just come to all my workshops. Come to what you just said was quite powerful. So LinkedIn is great. Ron Alford. Instagram, I'm happy to, I can throw you my email or whatever, but LinkedIn and Instagram are both great. Or just redefiningpossible.com if you want to kind of stick to the book title. That's an easy way where you can go on there and just fill out a little learn more kind of thing. Get a simple call. And for some listeners, maybe you want to have a workshop or something for your team. For some, you might want to talk about yourself. We call it a business action plan, where it's just simply a talk through your vision. Would coaching be a fit or not? And keep it simple.
Yeah, good stuff. Where can they get your book, Redefining Possible?
Amazon or the site, redefiningpossible.com is great. Okay. If you want to just kind of check it out there, and you can either order it there or Amazon, whatever they prefer.
Yeah, good stuff. And it's in the new version, the revised version is out now?
Exactly. Yeah, August 13th. So 2 weeks ago today, it's out.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, listen, one last question. I always ask this, and I put folks on the spot, but you're up for it, I know. And that's if you had to go back to 25-year-old Ron and give him an overview piece of advice, knowing what you know today on how to reach your dreams, how to reach your goals, how to achieve a life of fulfillment, of impactfulness, what would be the advice that you would give?
Yeah. 25-year-old me. So I would have really, with conviction and passion, tell myself, invest more in you. Like the watches, the shoes, the trucks, the stuff is fine, but make sure you're investing in yourself first. And if it's just simply reading books or going to seminars or hiring outside, but humility is the key. I just really find if there's one character trait of people I want to do life with, it's humility. And when you dedicate yourself to lifelong learning about yourself and never acting like you have it all figured out, you just judge less. I think there's so much more enjoyment, and then the sky's the limit. You really can do anything. So I would tell myself, learn, dedicate, commit yourself to learning, invest in yourself aggressively is what I would say.
Yeah, I love it. That's so, so well stated. And we could probably do another hour-long podcast just on that last statement itself. And, what I found is that the folks that I'm most attracted to in life and that I like spending time around are just what you said. They're people who are confident, but they're humble. Okay. And really without the other, you're still generally going to be attracted to them somewhat, but those who have that confidence that they believe in themselves and they have the humility to express that they don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Those are the types of folks that are lifelong learners. Those are the types of folks that really I think guys like you and I are kind of attracted to. We like to spend time around. We can kind of grow and get better from. So, and that's who I see you as, Ron. I really appreciate you as a person, as a human being, as a professional, and thanks so much for being here today. And hopefully we can do this again soon.
Yeah, Red, likewise, man. I can tell you got a massive heart for people, and just appreciate you having me. Glad to be a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ron. Talk to you soon.